It's another Pittsburgh Penguins Q&A after a big Penguins 3-2 overtime victory over the New York Rangers Sunday here at PPG Paints Arena. I am Dan Kingerska, the National Hockey Now and the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel. Before we get going, do me a favor, make sure you subscribe and like this video. Got a little youth hockey game going on behind me as well. You might find that more interesting than me, but we got some good questions here. The Penguins had, I think, a very important as well as a good win over the New York Rangers on Sunday. This was not the haphazard, sloppy, lethargic sort of win that they had against the Philadelphia Flyers on Saturday. No, this was a good win. It was a structured, a physical, hard-fought game. Yes, they gave up the tying goal in the third period. You know, a little bit dubious on how they gave up the goal. I really don't fault them. I kind of lay a little bit on the officials' feet, but that's also part of the game, right? All is fair. The refs don't call. The Penguins responded in the right way, and then that's probably as important as anything as well. So let's get to the Q&A here. By the way, check out the PHN Plus report card on Pittsburgh Hockey Now. Love your support when you can help us out. Believe me, travel gets expensive. Looks like a goal behind me. Travel gets expensive, as well as the full staff that we've got at Pittsburgh Hockey Now and Steelers Now and Pittsburgh Baseball Now. One subscription gets you access to all three. We'll give you a code. You get free subscriptions to the other sites when you sign up. Let's dive right into it. I promised the first question would be about Tristan Jarry because Simon, or is it Simone, asks, what do I think of Tristan Jarry? How does he look to me? And I think the reality, I might have touched on this a little bit the other night. Looks like we're having some fun back there. Let's talk about Tristan Jarry. I touched on this the other night when he played against Columbus. And I'll step back here. Hopefully you can hear me. Jarry is sliding and I'm purposely going beyond the camera's range because that's how Jarry is sliding in the goal. He's not using his skates. He's kind of, I don't want to call it lazily, but he's not properly sliding, using his skates to anchor post to post to stop himself. Therefore, he's kind of losing his position. He was solid on Sunday. I don't know that the Rangers made him work too often, or at least made him scramble. The Penguins' defense did a very good job of protecting their goalie. The Penguins' forwards did a good job of not letting the Rangers have great chances and sustained chances in front of the net where Jarry would have to move kind of on his knees side to side. Look, we can't, you and I have both heard the same whispers about Tristan Jarry because I don't believe they're reportable. Because you hear secondhand and third hand that something might be nagging or wrong this season. But I can't say that a prominent source who has firsthand information has specifically told us. You know, you and I have both heard the Jarry stuff, and I guess we'll leave it there. But Jarry still doesn't look 100% to me, and I know to a lot of you. So Mike Sullivan in the post game sort of intimated that, the more reps, the more ice time that Jarry gets, the better he's getting. And that's true. Maybe it's a matter of working through whatever has to be done. Sullivan said that today is Sunday, so it would have been on Friday. Jarry got a good workout with Andy Chiodo at Cranberry. And I guess we'll both watch together and see how this progresses. North Hills Tax, good guy, says, can they afford Zucker with Granlund's salary? Of course, the accountant would ask the money question, right? Well, yes, they could afford Zucker, But because of Granlund's $5 million salary going forward, the Penguins will, in fact, have to make some sacrifices. There's no two ways about that. I don't want to spend an hour on this topic alone, but you have to cut a corner somewhere else to squeeze Zucker in. Now, I opined earlier this year Zucker would take, I wouldn't offer Zucker. I shouldn't say, he would take, but I'm saying in a GM's chair, I would have probably offered him $4.16 earlier this year, 4 years, $16 million. Zucker's play over the last month, boy, is he good. He is night in, night out, the Penguins' heart. He is night in, night out, the guy who does, to use Mike Sullivan's phrase, drag the Penguins into the fight. And, there isn't anybody else bringing the same kind of energy that Zucker is bringing. So you might have to give him full boat and chop elsewhere. I can't say that would be I wouldn't give him any more than 5 years. In fact, I'd rather give him 4 years. But we'll see where that goes. I think there's some time left to figure that out. It seems close, but July is still a long way away. Let's see here. Kenny, is Tuesday the biggest trap game? Tuesday, the Penguins host the Montreal Canadiens here at PPG Paints Arena. Well, the Penguins got by the Philadelphia Flyers Saturday, and that was a trap game between the Islanders and the Rangers. But the Canadiens love to play hard, and they don't really care where they are in the standings. They've had some injuries, but they're still just a plucky, scrappy, hell-bent on beating you up a little bit if they can't beat you sort of team, even without Wi-Fi in the lineup. I suppose we'll have to see what the standings look like Monday morning, right? We do this here Sunday night. The Ottawa Senators face the Calgary Flames. Look, if Ottawa loses, then they're 8 points back, and the Buffalo Sabres are 9 points back. It could be a huge trap game for the Penguins. But if Ottawa keeps pace, and I'm not quite sure what the Monday schedule is, if the Penguins feel some pressure, I think they should have ample motivation. I think the Bloodhound is catching the scent. Let's see here. Tachuam 19, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, asks, he's been a big critic of Brian Dumoulin this season, but says Dumoulin has been playing a lot better lately. But he also thinks Brian Rust has more to give. Yes, I've pushed back on what I thought was kind of old news Dumoulin criticisms. I honestly didn't notice him on Sunday. I know he was getting a little bit of Twitter flack. I can't say at any point in my notebook Brian Dumoulin's name came up. That's usually a very good thing. It's kind of like the Chad Ruedel thing. If you don't notice him, it's a good thing, and I'm not noticing Brian Dumoulin. I did notice him in the offensive zone a couple of times, and I think he's allowing Jeff Petrie to freelance more, and that's a good thing. Petrie was very bad in the couple games before they put Brian Dumoulin there. So with Brian Dumoulin, you always have to factor in how is his partner playing, because Dumoulin has that sort of ability to elevate his partner. So if his partner is playing better, you have to also kind of transfer that gain, that benefit to Dumoulin too. Let's see here. Jesse, with a fully healthy lineup, where are DOC and Alex Nylander? Good question. Mount Lebanon and Morgantown are tied at 2 after 2 periods behind me. I don't know. I genuinely don't. I think both stay in the lineup. I mean, look, this is 3 games for Nylander. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. However, what we have seen is a very conscientious player, a guy who understands that he's not going to score 40 goals in the next 10 or 15 games, but he can earn an NHL paycheck by playing some defense. And he's doing, I think, a conscientious job. He's doing an exceptional job. There was a moment in the second period, and I wrote about this in the report card, because little moments equal big moments. There was a 50-50 puck. The Rangers kind of squibbed it, fumbled it, their breakout. Either Malkin or Nylander could have jumped forward, or both could have jumped forward and battled for that puck, and it probably meant a scoring chance if they did, because the Rangers were just, disorganized and trying to figure things out with a line change and a loose puck and all of that. Both Malkin and Nylander pulled back from the 50-50 puck because it wasn't a sure thing, because it wasn't even a probable win. It was a 50-50 at best, probably a 40-60 for them. And they just clogged the neutral zone. And they took away Rangers' speed into the zone. They took away the Rangers' breakouts and whatever might have followed if one or both had stepped forward. By being between the Rangers and the defensive zone, they did their job. And it was Evgeny Malkin doing that. If you had told me a month ago that Malkin and Nylander were playing such defensively responsible hockey, I might have hurt myself laughing, but here we are, right? I tend to think I tend to think O'Connor stays on the third line, although I think right now the third and fourth lines are interchangeable. Granlund, O'Connor, and Raquel is not a bad line. Maybe Nylander flops down to the third line and Raquel goes back into the top six. I can see that certainly happening. That's probably the only changes I would make. I don't think I would bring... I don't think I would put Nylander on the fourth line because I think he has more to give. But then again, he does have to show a little bit more offense to be in the top six. Where he falls to the third line, adequate. Fourth line, he's been a valuable contributor for 3 games. I hope I kind of danced around, but also answered your question a little bit. I think those guys are bottom sixers, and I don't necessarily think it matters because I think Sullivan right now is a pretty good handle on what they're bringing to the table. Let's see here. Fusco, is Bonino done for the year? I don't think anybody can answer that question. A lacerated kidney is no laughing matter, and it's not something that's, tape it up and get out there. Can't exactly rub some dirt on it, right? 3 weeks, 4 weeks is probably the proper estimate, which puts him, last few games of the regular season. Now, if the Penguins need salary cap space to call somebody else up, yeah, he's probably done for the year. At that point, you probably leave him on LTIR. Although, I don't think they've actually put him there officially yet. They don't really need to unless they need to call up somebody else. But is he done for the year? It'll be close. Let's see, Matt here. With Bonino hurt, are we doomed to Jeff Carter floating around on the fourth line? Carter, that fourth line for the Penguins on Sunday. After a few good games, by the way. Jeff Carter has played a few good statistical games in which he's been above water. His Corsi, his scoring chances, a few games in a row. Sunday was an absolute crater. Shoots and scores. There he goes. Josh Archibald had 0. Josh Archibald was not on the ice for a Penguins shot attempts, 12 against. Jeff Carter was on the ice for 2 Penguins shot attempts, but 18 shot attempts against at even strength. That's brutal. And I just don't know who else you'd put there. I asked Sullivan point blank in Florida a week ago if he, what he thought of O'Connor at center, and he said he likes him at wing, which is a departure from Mike Sullivan's usual kind of, dodge, duck, dip, dodge, dive so on those types of questions. What are the 5 Ds of dodgeball? Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge, I think. But by saying he likes O'Connor on the wing, he, unless it's an emergency, I think you're going to see Jeff Carter at fourth line center. He also likes to put Carter out there to take faceoffs, and Carter's faceoff percentage has been brutal recently, just falling through the floor as well. He lost the draw in overtime again on Sundays. Look, I'm giving you the straight stuff here on Carter. When I thought you guys were overreacting, I told you. And now I'm probably kicking him a little bit harder than maybe you guys are. I think Sullivan's hand is forced. Because, look, they called up John Gruden for a look a few weeks ago. That didn't go so well. Gruden was wallpaper, didn't make much of an impact. And I think it was only getting worse from there. So I don't know who you could call up. Who do you put as fourth line center without weakening your top 9? Taking O'Connor off there, I think, would be a mistake. Chicken One says, hey, let's bring up more of the talent in Wilkes-Barre, some young guys who want to play. Chicken One, I asked specifically, our Wilkes-Barre guy, someone who is paying close attention to the WBS Penguins, and the response was no. Flat out, no, we don't have anybody else to send up. Now, this was on Saturday, I asked the question. The stat is probably different, but as of Saturday afternoon, the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins had scored 13 even-strength goals in their last 17 games. So take it for what it's worth. I think they'd like to bring up a center, but there just isn't one to be had down there. Is that it? Yep. That is the Q&A. I try to keep them to 15 minutes. I went long. No final word for me tonight, Sunday. WPXI's been getting their money's worth, and I've been appreciating all of the fun, having fun with Borky, with 11 on the ice on Saturdays, and the boys Tim Benz or Chris Carter and Cale Berger and Alan Saunders and everybody who does Final Word on Sunday nights. I've been having fun, but it is nice to have an evening not covered in makeup. Although I look kind of good, I must say. That is it. Like I said, like the video and subscribe to the National Hockey Now YouTube channel. I think you can even subscribe just to the Pittsburgh Hockey Now segment of the NHN channel. So Monday is NFL free agency. Be glued to SteelersNow.com, and we don't take days off at Pittsburgh Hockey Now. We don't take no stinking days off. So join us all day tomorrow too, as the Penguins have a day off, but not us. I have a couple more, I think, thought-provoking analytical columns on the way. Even if grandmas on Facebook hate them because he's just so negative. Oh, they have no idea. All right, I'm Dan Kingerski on the YouTube channel. Have fun.